All right, welcome to the Modern CEO podcast. We're here with Buddy Bockweg. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Um, this is where we talk business strategy, leadership, and personal growth. So, welcome to the show, buddy.
John, thanks for having me, man. Good to be here.
So, I want to get into a lot of different stuff today, but I want to start just with you telling us your story. Where'd you come from? Where'd you grow up? How'd you get where you are today? Give me like a high level version of your history.
Well, John, I'm 46, soon to be 47 next month. So there's a lot of history here. I want to try to keep it short, at least palatable with the audience. Um, yeah. So short story is I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, born and raised. Yeah, still here. Wanted to build a business here. Um, Never really had people in my life that were entrepreneurial. Like it was very much like, hey, you go to college, you can graduate with a good degree, you get a good job, you go out and you try to make something through that path. Um, so it never really occurred to me to like, hey, I need to go out and figure out how to start my own thing. But my first job out of college was with my stepfather, uh, who had built a business where he was selling lighting into places like Kentucky Fried Chicken. And they were expanding at the time and they were starting to grow. Yeah, and so I got into this business as a finance major. I thought I was going to go sit for my series and I was going to go to Wall Street and do the whole trading thing. That's what I really wanted to do. But he was like, "Hey, give me a few months and let's figure out if you want to stay here and do this or you want to continue down that path." Um, so that was the moment in time where I found like, hey, somebody in my life had started a business. This is really interesting to me. This business has started to take off. I got to be a part of that. Yeah, he unfortunately passed away early on in that venture. Um, but I got to be a part of leading that organization over the course of, let's call it a decade to 15 years, but being a part of it for almost 20. And yeah, I got the bug. It was like, hey, I want to go do something on my own. I want to go
Yeah.
transform the way people physically, work and deliver value through service, and do it in a way that is very business oriented. And yeah, through that process, that's how Vsimple was born.
Yeah. What did it take to actually step out on your own? Like you were working with another company, and like how did you actually take that first step?
It took a lot of encouragement from a group. So I'm a part of Vistage. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
Yeah, very.
um, presidents and CEOs of other organizations was a part of that for a period of time in my previous life. And, you start looking around the room and you're going, hold on a second, what's different from me and them? Like they're incredibly capable people. But there's no secret sauce. Like I thought that like, oh, you had to be, born a certain way to want to physically do this. And what you realize is like, no, you have all the skills that are necessary. Do you just want to do the work? And the work is the scary part it's a grind, man. It's not easy to do and it's not for everybody, obviously. But at the end of the day, I had to make that decision and they were very encouraging in the fact that and my wife, I mean, she was the one that was really the catalyst for it all. Yeah. She was the one that was like, hey, you've said you wanted to go do something. Now that you have been in this position, like, what are you going to do about it? Like, are you just going to let that opportunity pass you by? You're not getting any younger, obviously.
Mhm.
And at the time, I was almost 40. So, yeah, I don't know if it was a midlife crisis, John, or if it was just me finally identifying, like, I can go do this.
Yeah. A lot of people have kind of not only a fear of can I actually do it, but there's a financial element too. You're stepping away from some stability to go kind of into the unknown.
100%. That's it. And uh, that's why I couldn't do it without my wife. Like at the end of the day, it was a us decision. It wasn't a me decision. It was her and I navigating those waters together, identifying like, hey, we're gonna have to do things like sell the house that we built. We're gonna have to downsize the cars that we drive, right? Like
Mhm.
it sounds trivial in the grand scheme of the world, but there are sacrifices that have to be made. And if one person, if I was just in and my wife was not in, it would be a very hard proposition. Yeah. So to have the support of my wife was everything. And then for her to sacrifice along the way because there was income changes that were drastic, obviously,
Mhm.
and that went on for more years than we had anticipated. But you if you have to commit. At the end of the day, there was not a plan B for me. It was always like, hey, we're going to go make this successful, and this is the only plan. So let's figure out how to make it happen. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
burn the boats and full speed ahead.
absolutely, 100%.
So this was what, 6, 7 years ago?
Yeah, so jumped out, the end of 2018, and then it was basically the beginning of 2020 is when we started a business prior to Vsimple that Vsimple was born out of. So it's
Okay.
been almost 8 years.
Alright, and how did COVID affect it? You were a couple years into this, like, was it a hindrance? Did it accelerate it? Like, what did COVID do?
Just like every business on the planet, it changed it drastically.
Yeah.
We came into 2020, and we had the business plan, and we were getting ready to start this thing, and so we were having a launch party on March 17th of 2020. St. Patrick's Day, my birthday's on the 18th. We were like, "St. Patrick's Day, it's a party day, like, this is gonna be a blast. We're gonna celebrate this new business that we're bringing into the world." And we got a call the night before from the team of people that were gonna cover it, and they were like, "Hey, we can't come." Like, "What do you mean you can't come?" They're like, "No, we can't be around people." And then in March 17th, they had made the announcement, and that was "Hey, everything is shutting down." And so we went from and we have pictures to prove it, like, it was like a whole thing with the community to just myself and the co-founder standing in an empty building, taking pictures of ourselves launching this business into the world. And I was going, here's the beautiful thing about that, John. Here's what I love. The naivety of being new into this let us have an optimistic view of it. I think
Yeah.
if we had done this before walking into this, it would be oh no, this could be the beginning of the end. For us, it was like, all right, it's a challenge. All right, what can we do in this time? And how do we? So instead of doing a lot of the service stuff that we were going to do, we moved into the how do we support the community and the businesses that we know. And at the time, it was PPE and the not only the procurement but the distribution and managing the supply chains to be able to support that. So our business took off. Like it was, and that was pre Vsimple. So this was a business called Access Point Alliance. And so we got to really see that grow. And through that catalyst is where we found, hold on a second, the movement of this stuff is not as valuable because we had built our own software. So our edge was the software we created for ourselves that was giving us a competitive advantage in the world.
So did
Um,
did your did your strategy change or just how you were serving people changed?
the entire strategy changed. It very much became, hey, we don't want to build a big supply chain business any longer. Like, and I say that because it was where do you create the most value for the human? Yes, the movement of stuff is great, but there's lots of companies that move stuff, right? Um, the value is actually in the delivery of software that they physically can't build themselves or do themselves. And if we could give them a strategic advantage like we had, then they could go win. And if we could do that for thousands or tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of organizations around the world, we can literally change the lives of millions, tens of millions, and hopefully hundreds of millions of people.
Yeah.
And that was the catalyst.
No, the AI has really come hard and heavy in the last couple of years, but were you using any of the machine learning or automation pieces of that at this point? Or I guess how did AI change strategy or how you operate over that period? Because 6 years isn't very long.
Yeah, so we knew AI was coming when we started this business, and I say that meaning there's talk of it. Machine learning, how are we actually gonna utilize things to it's driven by automation, which is our whole goal in our platform is to help companies automate everything that they physically do, eliminate the menial, monotonous, and duplicative tasks. So it was like, "Hey, this is gonna happen." Now, what we missed on was is in my my projection was like by 2030, I think it's gonna be a thing. Like, I think it's gonna be massive, it'll be mainstream. I didn't realize that, 2.5 years in that $1 trillion was gonna go in the development of this new technology, and all of a sudden, ChatGPT was gonna change the world. Um, so we had to reset our time frames of like, "Oh, well, then we need to make sure that we are physically a part of that transformation." And so as it started to really trickle in, we started to dig in and dive in and make sure that that is part of what it is that we're delivering from a value perspective to the industries and the companies we serve.
Yeah. Yeah, and it feels to me like the AI is kind of two fronts. One, where it's an extension of automation. We're able to automate a lot more based on it. But there's also this whole other realm that's coming, seems like pretty fast and furious, of almost the creative problem solving side of it
Yeah.
versus just the automation. But I'd love to kind of hear your perspective on where we are right now with AI versus where you were a few years ago.
Yeah. So it's a completely different world. Like it's drastically changed because it starts, there's two things it starts with: automation and then intelligence, right? I can gather information and be able to regurgitate really interesting things about the things that are going on that are meaningful to our business so I can make good business decisions. Um, those two things have happened, many times over the past 3 years. The agentic approach, I think, is what you're talking about when you actually now have the execution layer. It's like not only is it physically automating, but it's also providing the ability to go do other things, yeah, and do it autonomously. Like you don't need to be involved or engaged, yeah, as long as the parameters are put in place. Um, that's what we see today is, if you look at 2026, it's going to be the year of the agents. It's everywhere, everything. Um, what's really interesting to me within the landscape of that is the companies that will win with agents are the companies that have access to process and systems and data. So it's this, you still have to have context around whatever is going on in your organization. And that's where you see a lot of I think 26 is going to be this year of like trial and error. It's like, hey, we bought these things and we can't figure out what to do with them, or we deployed some of these agents and they're only as valuable as they do these two things really well, but we have 200 things we need done. And it's like,
Mhm.
well, yeah, but the problem is your company's still a mess, right? If half of the work is being done in outside of your software system, yeah, or systems, and you have 17 different platforms that you use every day and they're departmentally specific, and then you try to roll all that data into one place and then you try to get agents involved, it's going to be a nightmare for companies to physically realize the value from the capital investment.
Yeah,
Um,
and, I know that you're tied in with EOS Worldwide, and we talk a lot about the process component, and this is an
yes.
area that some companies really thrive. It's just natural to them, like, "Let's document, let's simplify this stuff, like, let's actually, at a high level, figure out how we want things done." Others really, really struggle with it, but I know you play in this world,
Yes.
and how do you approach an EOS run company?
One, we love EOS run companies. We are one of them. We are a part of the EOS ecosystem, which we are incredibly passionate about. But two, you're right. If you look at the six, process is the one that trips most people up. And it's because, hey, it's one thing to go, okay, we need to document our process. Great. Now you've got them on a Word document. And
Yeah,
yes, you
that's
can have
that's
AI.
only the first step.
Right, exactly. Okay, it takes 17 steps to get this one thing done, and then seven people are involved. Okay, great. But how do you optimize that? And then what does it look like to physically add automation to that? And then how do you, to your point about agents, how do we get an agent doing 98% of that? And all you're doing is making sure that they're running the right play. Yeah, and so that's our job in the US ecosystem. That's what we do is we own process for EOS companies, and we come in and help facilitate that. Because what you have to do, it goes back to you have to get people working in the same place so that AI has the data as well as the context to be able to execute what it is that you need it to do. And the only way it can do that is if everyone is working together collectively in the same environment. Yeah, and so it's like taking the process and putting it on what we call a digital assembly line, ensuring that these organizations now have the ability to uniquely move knowledge work out of paper and spreadsheets and meetings and emails into a place where AI can be incredibly valuable. And that to
As you
me is
men
that phase 1, phase 2.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, it doesn't like if the company's a mess to start with, we gotta clean that up first.
Yeah,
Like
always,
it
always.
it has to be intentional.
Yeah,
Like, and that's why I said, like, document and simplifying is the first step. The magic happens after that, where you can actually dig in to these specific processes, figure out where there's maybe efficiencies, or maybe we're just doing something like this because we always have. But
right.
really getting that team together and challenging what that is. And that's how I coach my clients to go is let's apply AI where it's needed, but first let's sort this out and
Yeah,
then really look at, okay, where can this essentially be automated? What steps within this can we do? And is that where is that where vSimple kind of comes in? Do you manage the whole process, or do
we do.
you?
Yeah,
Okay.
because phase 1, phase 2. The phase 1, everybody we know wants artificial intelligence. I wanna deploy AI in our business. Great. I think that's fantastic. I think the software industry has done a remarkable job of selling AI, so it's now everybody's trying to figure out how to deploy it. What do I do with
Yeah.
it? But you can't deploy AI in a place that is a physical and digital mess. And so it's like, okay, well, phase 1 is let's get you ready to deploy AI. So that process is literally process mapping. And to your point, optimization, then elimination, and then automation, and then artificial intelligence, right? Like it's a sequence that needs to be followed. And here's where, and you'll get this being a part of EOS, there's a real leadership problem that we have. And I say that meaning there's a tremendous amount of leaders that aren't ready to walk down this plank. Um, and it's unfortunate because at the pace at which the technology is advancing, the competitive edge right now is great for the companies that, to your point, that walk through that, get to a place and physically now can deploy AI and it becomes magical. Um, that competitive edge is going to grow drastically over the course of months and quarters and a few years to the point where it's going to be hard for the leaders that don't walk down this plank right now to stay relevant, to compete.
Yeah, it's moving fast. Every company that I work with has AI of some sort in their plan.
Yep.
But they don't exactly know what it is, and it feels like it's just moving so fast. I sat down on Monday, President's Day, and in an evening fired up Claude, vibe coded my first app, and
Yep.
on Tuesday, I went and like bugged it, got all the bugs out, and now it's on my phone and it actually does exactly what I intended it to do.
Yep.
Like the
Yep.
fact that, and I know nothing about software. Like I opened up my terminal on my Mac for the first time, like trying to put some stuff in there, but it
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
intuitive enough at this point that I created a fully functional, actually valuable app that now I'm using every day, and
Yep.
blown away by that. And everyone wants to apply AI, but just doesn't quite know how yet.
Yeah, and John, what you're talking about right there, and we love the experimentation. That's what we it's like, hey, you need to experiment. Like you need to play around with GPT or Gemini or, Anthropic or find one, X. It doesn't matter, Grok, whatever it is that you want to play around with. You should start to understand the enormous power that's in here. But the hesitation and what we say always is like, hey, but before you deploy that in your organization, you need to have somebody that's an expert. And I say that meaning like, hey, we do this for a living because to your point, you can we're dealing with organizations that, hey, I built this app and now we're using it internally. And it was like, oh, hold on a second, hold on. There are security issues left and right, right? Like you don't know what's underlying there. You don't know where that information's going. And if those things start to trip up on each other, you could create a massive problem for you and your organization. So play around, understand the power, and then find that partner that can come help facilitate the advancement. Yeah, because it does take, like I said, most companies have to go through phase one to get to phase two. To get to AI,
Yeah,
you actually have to transform, and that's why we love US companies. Is they've already said yes to that. They've already said, "We want John to come in here and make us better." It's like, "Great. You've already said yes to transformation. You've already put your time and money into something that you want a competitive edge, right? You wanna go win the future. Great." Those are the companies that we really excel with because the leadership has said yes to it. If they
yeah.
leadership is not, it's a totally different story.
And you're a licensed partner with EOS worldwide now, correct?
Correct, that's correct.
What does that mean? What's a practical piece behind that?
Yeah, so the license partnership allows us to make sure, we're utilizing all of the EOS language and methodology within our environment. So we can speak the same language as an EOS company. We can make sure that everything matches and aligns. The whole process piece that you're running through, but it's also data, right? Where there's a huge data strategy when you look at BI, so business intelligence, and what it is that you're going to garner from your company. Because it's more than most companies run their business from financials, and it's a whole thing. It's like you need to understand operationally what's going on in your business. Um, but being able to deliver all of those EOS components within our environment.
Yeah, makes sense. And there's a lot of companies on EOS now. Feels like we're riding a wave because it's a foundational concept to operate a good business.
That's right.
Um, as far as leadership of your company, of companies you work with that are going down this AI route, like I want to hear your perspective on leading teams, leading people through this transformation.
Yeah, that's a great question. Th the first thing I'll say is change has to be the new normal. Like, everything's going to look different a year from now. And you as a leader have to be comfortable with that. I think the biggest blocker from transformation is around change management. It's we've been doing it like this for 20 years, or somebody in my organization is responsible for that. And man, if I disrupt that, it's gonna be that's where all the Legos start to fall. That cannot be the mentality any longer. It has to be, we have our eye on transformation. We are going to physically put effort and energy and money into evolving as an organization. And it's not just going to be buying a bunch of software tools or, um, you know, hiring a consultant. That's what I love about it. It's like, hey, we are going to lean into this. And as a leader within that organization, I am now responsible for making sure that if the buy-in isn't there, that there's a possibility of significant changes that need to be made. And that's the unfortunate part, but it's also the fortunate part is this always unearths the like, oh, I thought, this person was a catalyst from our organization, but come to find out they're a hindrance. They're the reason we can't scale. Like and then and then you start trying to unwind those things. So you've, as a leader, just got to be prepared. Like it's going to change and it's going to change fast. And then the level of optimism that coincides with that, I think is incredibly important. Like,
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement, but there's also a lot of fear.
yeah.
The what does this look like when it's different? Everyone can
Mhm.
feel that things are changing, um, and some people are embracing it, and some people are not. Um,
Yeah. The unknown is hard. It's hard for most people, right? I mean, just the psychology of human beings. It's our first reaction is fear, is freeze, right? It's like I'm
yeah.
not going to do anything, and it's like, well, hold on, you can't do that. Yeah,
Now, how about within your own company? How many people work there?
right about 30 right now, yeah, and growing. So we're yeah. I mean, when I jumped out to start this business, I had no desire to be a solopreneur. Like that was not interesting at all to me. Um, I knew my strengths, I knew my weaknesses. I had spent many times or many years leading an organization, so I knew what I needed to surround myself with to ensure that we were building something that was remarkably valuable. Um, and that's not really a testament to me. That's a testament to the people I surrounded myself with. And so that leadership team was formed out of that. And so I've got 3 other co-founders, myself and 3 other gentlemen that helped found this business. And as we structure leadership, everything flows through that. And making sure that the talent matches the need in the organization, but also the culture. There's a we have a very strong servant culture here, so it's you got to have a servant heart, yeah, before you can have anything of grand quality. Um, but it all stems from the leadership team that you put in place, and then making sure that you're all on the same mission. What does that look like? What are we really trying to accomplish here? And are we aligned? And maintaining that alignment as a CEO is, I mean, that is my job. That's what I'm, not just built to do, but here to do.
Yeah. So what's working, what's not working?
Yeah, I think the things that are working are we have a unique tolerance for change, um, and transformation just because of the company that we are. Um, I think the hard part is still it's the uncertainty for a lot of people that are coming into this organization, and the speed at which it's physically going. So it's wow, like what does the future look like? It's like to be determined, right? Like we're yeah, yes, we have grand ambitions, and yes, we are quickly getting there. But at the end of the day, like it's going to require a monumental effort, and you're going to have to buckle in, and be okay with the evolution that happens. Because this isn't a place where you come in and you're a project manager one, and then 6 months later you're a project manager two, and it's like you might be a project manager, but we find your personality suits better over here, so we're going to pull you over. Now you're in customer success. It's that like, and you either love that and thrive in that, or you struggle with that. So making sure that we find the right personalities that are good with that has been probably one of the biggest things.
Yeah. Next thing I wanna kinda dig into a little bit is just personal development, and that can be personnel development, meaning your teams and your people, or personal development, like you as a leader, a co-founder in this organization.
Yeah.
How do you what's your path look like? Like, what challenges have you had along the way? What are you doing personally?
Yeah. So personally, it's one of those where still a member of Vistage. I will always be. Vistage, we're actually partnered with that organization as well. Um, I believe wholeheartedly in everything that they do. Yeah, as far as surrounding yourself with people that are aligned and want to get better and they're on a mission to be successful. So that is a big thing for me every month to be with a group of leaders that are continuing to challenge and hold me accountable, but also love on me and make sure that I've got a group of people I can talk to. Um, and then it's for me, it's always been forever learning. I don't think there's such a thing that somebody's born to be a CEO. I think it's a learned behavior. I think qualities, obviously, certain people have certain tendencies or qualities that lend themselves to it. Um, but I also believe that it's something that can be learned. Leadership can be learned, but you have to apply yourself to it. So it's the constant, you know, reading and navigating and trying to understand what does it look like, an emulation of others and taking from a little bit of this. I really like the character of this person. I really like the delivery of this person and trying to mold it into your unique way. And that takes years and decades, not, weeks and months.
Yeah.
Um, and then you take that and, of course, your mental health, your physical health, if you allow all of those things to fall apart, then of course you're never going to be the leader that you could be. It. So it's a combination of all of it.
Yeah, Vistage is pretty phenomenal. Something we talk about a lot, in the business world is that every CEO needs a peer group.
Hmm.
They need a group of people that are dealing with the same challenges that they are, that they can vent, that they can voice what they're dealing with.
Yep,
Because you can't do that to your employees and your staff, and if you got a board, you can't do it, up either.
that's
So
right.
that peer group, that Vistage, like, probably half of the companies I've worked with are involved with Vistage in one way or another. Phenomenal group. They also need a coach. So they need a peer group, they need a coach, and they need a
Hmm.
system.
Yep.
And coach is just individual, one-on-one, personal development. And then the system, as you've said, like EOS is the operating system we do.
Hmm.
And those three things are a magic combination. Um, so what's your big vision? What's this gonna look like 3, 5 years out? Like where are you taking this company?
Yeah, we have a big mission, John. We're dedicated to forever transforming the way humans work. Um, and I'm talking specifically about knowledge work. I'm talking about the way we engage today. A world without screens, right? Being able to deliver value through um, humans being able to do the most valuable task and allowing the machines to do everything else. Um, and the mission for us is truly the more companies, the more people, the more impact, right? And here's what I believe is this we have this slogan that's, you create better work, which create better businesses, but that creates a better world. And if you give people really valuable things to do, they're going to want to do more of it. The businesses are going to be more profitable. They're going to be more valuable. There's going to be more things that they're going to be able to deliver, which is going to positively impact the communities that they reside in. Right. So you've got better family dynamics that created because I don't believe in work life balance. I believe we're all here doing life together. Then you've got better businesses that are able to pay more taxes and better communities. And now you have this kind of this ecosystem that
Yeah.
continues to thrive. And we want to do that all over the world. So, like I said, hundreds of millions, maybe billions of people are impacted by our change in the way that physical work is being derived today. And I'm excited to be a part of the front of that and in helping organizations navigate the future of that. And we've got teams of people behind us to be able to support us in that. Yeah. So yeah, it's a gigantic mission that we're on.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome. It's been really good, buddy. Thank you for coming on and kind of sharing your insight and your vision and some good wisdom there too.
John, thanks. Thanks for having me, man.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.